it's Jesy. In today's video, we are going to be reviewing, I don't know why I said we, I meant me. I'm going to be reviewing More Happy Than Not by Adam Silvera. I'm going to be attending Adam Silvera's signing tonight in San Diego. So I was like, I can't go to an Adam Silvera signing without ever having finished an Adam Silvera book. I almost knocked something down. So yesterday I just randomly decided to pick up More Happy Than Not, even though I had a lot of other things that I should have and need to be doing, like school. Instead, I decided to spend 4 hours of my life reading and devouring this book. It was glorious, and I hadn't felt that good about reading and finishing a book, even though it hurt my heart in a very long time. Just a forewarning for this review and for this book in general, it does deal with some heavy subjects of suicide, self-harm, and abuse. So if that's something you can't handle reading, then I definitely don't recommend this book. It does have some difficult subject matter that even for me it was difficult to read, with dealing some with past things. Without further ado, let's get into this review. So I went into this book not knowing anything about it other than the thought that I thought that the main character was gay. My mind was blown because this book was very different than what I thought it was about, because I didn't really know what it was about. When I started reading it, I was getting kind of worried because I thought it sounded familiar to one of my other favorite books called The Program by Susan Young, which basically is like suicide is an epidemic and they're put into this program where their memories are erased. So this, on the first page, when I started reading it, I got worried because it has this little advertisement that says Lateo Institute, here today, gone tomorrow. Suffering from unwanted memories? Call Lateo Institute at 1-800-I-FORGET to learn about the cutting-edge memory relief procedure. That made me worried that this book was going to be like The Program. Luckily, it blew my mind and was not. This book is about our main character, Aaron, who is in love with his girlfriend, Genevieve. It follows him becoming slightly more confused and dealing with his sexuality, and also with the death of his father, who committed suicide. This book blew my mind, and it's going to be hard talking about it without spoiling, but I'm going to try my best. One thing I really loved about this book is the diverse cast of characters and how distinct they were and able to separate apart from each other. I believe this story takes place in New York, in Brooklyn, I'm pretty sure. One thing I really liked about this book and Adam's writing was I have never been to New York before, and it was really easy for me to picture vividly where the story took place, and I kind of felt that I lived there in New York along with the main characters, which was really awesome for me since it was like a free trip within a book. There was one thing that kind of pet peeved me, but it just might be me in the way I am in a relationship currently, because my boyfriend it's kind of a long distance relationship. We're not long distance states apart or countries apart like some people, but we live 3 hours away, so we don't get to see each other that much at all. And when the main character was complaining about not seeing his girlfriend for 3 weeks in this story, I was like, man up, I haven't seen my boyfriend in a month. So that made me a little peeved, but it wasn't something that would probably bother anything else. It's probably just me. Shimmy while I gather my thoughts. My lipstick tastes like candy. This is weird. One thing I also enjoyed was Adam Silvera's writing. He does have this little light humor wrapped within it. It slightly reminds me of one of my favorite books called Thanks for the Trouble by Tommy Wallach. So if you like The Program by Susan Young or Thanks for the Trouble by Tommy Wallach, I definitely think that you will like this book. It does play with your heartstrings and your feels, and oh my god, I can't believe I didn't cry. I was so expecting to cry at the end of this book, but for some reason I'm just a heartless, soulless demon this week. Curse Mother Nature, she paid me a visit. Which is weird because that should make me more emotional, shouldn't it? I don't know. Reverse psychology, whatever. I keep dropping the book. There was parts of this book that was like a puzzle that I was trying to put together in my head, and I was getting kind of confused, but the way that it plays out is like mind blown, because I was not expecting the plot twist within this book. This book is so hard to talk about without spoiling. All around me are familiar. There was a great deal of foreshadowing in this book as well, which was done really well because I did not notice it, but looking back and seeing all those little details that lead up and create this bigger puzzle to reveal the ending of the story that you don't expect was just like, there were little hints dropped here and there that I wouldn't have picked up on, and once you finish a story you're like, oh my god, that happened there, that happened there, and then it's just like, ah. So thank you, Adam, for blowing my mind and my heart up into little pieces. Another thing I really like that Adam was able to pull off was the whole aspect of the deep, darker subjects in the story as well, because with personally having dealt with some of the things that the character goes through that I choose not to personally discuss, it was done well in a way where it wasn't offending me, and I felt like it was described and done really well and portrayed in a good manner. For me personally, I'm actually glad that I've read this now at the age of 17 rather than like 6 months ago, because I feel like I've grown a lot this year here so far. Younger people might be able to read this, but I feel like this book is for a more mature teenage to adult audience. Because with having experienced things this year, it was easier for me to picture some scenes that went on in this book. Hashtag adulting. And like I said, for me, with not liking contemporaries all too much, because I always feel like they're not realistic or portrayed well, or there's always like an instant love. This book thoroughly showcased a friendship turning to romance, turning to confused feelings and everything really well. And it was a realistic story where the characters weren't perfect, they were flawed, they had their struggles and everything like that. So I really loved this story and how it played out. Now, if you are able to read a book with darker subject matter like this, it is an amazing book and I highly recommend that you read it. I really enjoyed it. I devoured it within a few hours, which is saying something for me because I'm not the fastest reader. I really want to read more of Adam Silvera's books soon. I don't know when, but I will have reviews for the rest of his books up on my channel when I do finish them. Let me know if you read this book and let me know your thoughts down below in a kind, civil manner. That wraps it up pretty much for this video today. I am Jessie. Be sure to subscribe and give this video a thumbs up if you want to see more videos from me, and I will see you next time. Goodbye. See you later. Woo!